never believe for a minute that only by attending the proper hearings and filling out the proper forms and engaging in the proper things that the powers that be declare are the proper way for you to be doing this. If there hadn't been 5,000 people at the locks after 2006, if there hadn't been people lined up on the beach, if there had not been people, screaming sometimes, standing on the bridges, we wouldn't be as far as we are today.
That's right.
For all the earnest, well-meaning things we've heard from all the nice agency people, we wouldn't get there if we didn't make noise. Go in politics. One of the things that we tend to do at these conferences over and over is to vilify our politicians, and with good reason. Alfie tells me that over half of the members of the House of Representatives don't believe that sea level is rising, much less that carbon has anything to do with it. So I can understand why people feel that way, but if you let that keep happening, you destroy democracy. Democracy is a participatory sport. If you don't get involved, it dies. And you don't have to be the politician. You can be the one that paints the signs, or carries the signs, or acts as treasurer, or organizes other people. But get involved with some politician who's a good guy or a good gal. Because with Citizens United and other things going on with PACs and money, the only thing we have left are grassroots. And if the grassroots go home and say they're all crooks, they will all be crooks.
That's right.
There will always be the doubters and those who have an agenda that is adverse to the objectives that I believe most of us share. So consistency, patience. There was a great football coach at Florida A&M University, Jake Gaither, who used to describe an ideal football player as I would describe an ideal environmentalist. You've got to be agile, mobile, and hostile to be successful. I would say a second thing, and if I were giving my report card tonight, and I'm sorry I can't be with you, it would have emphasized a sense of urgency. I think we have somewhat fallen into a mindset that if it doesn't happen in 2015, but happens in 2020, that's acceptable. It ain't acceptable. We don't have an unlimited amount of time to get this accomplished. And I would say one of the lessons learned is that we have got to start setting some time-denominated markers for ourselves with tasks to be completed and hold people accountable against those markers. I don't know how much longer we have to attend these conferences, but I sure as hell want to see the Everglades restored before I go to my last one.
I am telling you, after 15 years of working almost constantly on Everglades issues, not that I didn't work hard in the governor's offices with Bob Graham when he was governor and senator, but especially hard the last 20 years with the Everglades Foundation. We are on the edge of a gigantic success. Those of you in this room who have all contributed to the passage of Amendment 1.
Everglades is built on opportunities. That's how restoration has come about. And we have an opportunity right now to purchase a reservoir piece of land in the Everglades agricultural area, 26,000 acres.
According to one of Bob Graham's agency head, his chief of staff told her in his second term Good grief, if I'd known this Everglades stuff was going to be so popular, I would have let him do it 4 years ago. The second thing I want to build on, and I'm sorry to be a little repetitious about options and buying sugar land, is Ned says we are on the edge of a gigantic success. And we are. And we are on the edge of a gigantic loss. And it's not if we don't do it by October. If that decision hasn't been made and they're not moving forward by April, we've lost that option. And everybody's talking about sending the water south. And almost all of you are talking about exercising that option. And everybody I hear from the agencies is saying, we are examining all options. And I corner them in the hallway and I say, what other options? What other options will allow you to send water south? And so, well, we're looking at storage in the north, and we're looking at water farming, and we're looking at easements. The problem is not that sugar growers are evil. The problem is where sugar growers are. They need you to store a foot of extra water, 2 feet of extra water in the wintertime, so they can use it if it doesn't rain. And then they need to dump that on you when it rains in the summertime. No amount of storage anywhere around the lake, no other option that has ever been suggested will solve that problem. But a reservoir south of the lake where they can pump their dirty water into the reservoir and pump the water from the reservoir onto their dirty sugarcane fields instead of holding it in the lake and dumping it on us in the coastal estuaries will solve the problem. We need to exercise that option. The reason the world loves the Everglades is not because it has jobs attached to it. I was tremendously impressed before the natural forces of the rains of 2013 convinced every politician in the state that they really wanted to do something and had always wanted to do something.
We know better, and
One message.
you are the advocates. We have one message this year: water must go south into a reservoir. And you know, if we stick together, that announcement will be made in less than 30 days. It took disasters, but it ramifications to the business community was colossal. That doesn't mean they're all going to stand up and support everything. But Richard, we're far further along than I ever dreamt possible 20 years ago, when all the business community was really basically either neutral or opposed to any great expenditure of money on the Everglades restoration. And spent a lot of money with their lobbyists at the water management districts confusing the issues. You remember them very well.
Yes, yes, and one of the sad parts I think about that is the destruction of St. Lucie. It took that
Yeah.
to bring the real estate community on board.
Yeah.
It took that to bring other businesses on
Yeah.
board. It is a shame that the only way things get done is through disaster.
Yeah.
And somehow we have to bring that up and get above that and say we have to do this before we have a disaster. And this is the way to do it. We're going back. Send the water south, buy the land.
Also understand that the main push from those forces who gave more money to more legislators than all the rest of you combined, or all the rest of the common residents of Florida combined, are going to make it the year of water by suggesting we can get away from the constraints of the natural system by privatizing Florida's water and doing public-private partnerships in order to facilitate the efficiency and the risk-taking of private industry to build new water infrastructure. The reason they're going to phrase it with that gobbledygook is that if they simply told you that you now own, the people of Florida own the waters of the state above and below ground, and we're going to give them away, you might not like that. So by all means, let folks know that the year of the water needs to be about natural resources being put back to a sustainable level to sustain us with clean water, and that this is the absolutely wrong time to give away Florida's water.
I'm going to reiterate both of my colleagues' famous quotation from Winston Churchill. Never, never give up. No, never give up. That's my motto. It should be yours.